Dawg and Gus Show, now on Feel It Radio.
G'day, Dog.
Gus, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm better, thank you.
Yes, I'm glad you're better.
Mm-hmm.
A wee scare, but you're okay now.
Oh, it's just a wee scare, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we're happy to have you back.
Thanks.
What do we got going on today?
Oh, man, we've got this group of guys, and all three of them are here, which is the first time this has happened.
We've first threesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it was my joke last time.
I know, but now it's a fivesome, I guess.
Yeah, but they're not laughing, so it's not that funny.
Well, I don't think they get our sense of humor whatsoever.
Anyway, these guys, this is we're welcoming Finely Tuned Elephant today. Welcome, guys.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us. Yeah,
thank you for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So you guys founded it in 2019. Where did you meet? Like, how did you guys kind of become a band?
We met at a house. Well, so sorry. Yeah, me and
good.
me and Jordan. Oh goodness, we met at a house party. I think originally, maybe it was 2018 or something. A year went by. My cousin Christopher reached out. He said, "Do you remember that guy named Jordan who you met at the house party?" And I'm like, "Not really," but he was like, "Well, he plays guitar. He's looking to start a band." And that's basically where it started. And then from there on, we started jamming, built chemistry, and yeah, 3 years later.
Well, I certainly would say the chemistry's there.
Oh, it's amazing chemistry for the three of them, for sure.
I was listening to them on the way here. It's a nice driving music, actually, boys.
It's great. That is great, but seeing them live is so much better.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah, it was so
I think
good.
that is part of the appeal for us. Like, I think there is a lot of value in the studio music that we write, and we're quite happy with the way it turns out. But the live performance is something special, and like being able to see that chemistry on stage, and the way we move around and interact is it's part of the experience. And
that's cool.
So you guys are young. Why jazz? Like, why jazz fusion? Like, why not heavy metal? Like, I'm sorry, Jordan, I don't mean to insult, but you look like Ronnie James Dio.
He does, actually, yeah.
That's an insult,
I've heard of
though?
Kenny G. I've heard of Weird
Oh, no,
Al.
No, that's not an insult. That's not an insult.
That's an insult.
Yeah,
Ronnie
Kenny
James
G
Dio
is.
another one. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, actually, I when I first started jamming with Kyle, I actually was trying to get him to play in a metal band I wanted to start up.
Yeah.
That was actually the first kind of venture I wanted to start off. But I also had some jazz fusion stuff that I was writing as well, and so we ended up jamming more along that because he preferred it, and I kind of wanted to do that project as well. And why jazz fusion? It's a genre that all of us like. I mean, it's been a big part of like popular culture in different ways, like through video games, for example, through a lot of TV and such. It's kind of a blend of all the different styles that we like traditional jazz, rock and roll, progressive rock, metal, Latin music, world music, all these different areas. And it's a fun opportunity for us to kind of flex our technical skills, but also compositional arrangements, and also our live shows too, where we can play these songs with specific structure, but also have all this room to improvise and be free with what we want to do. So awesome. It's kind of liberating and fun for us.
That's great.
Yeah.
I will also point out that I think all of us are really into metal and other things as well. So
that was probably our first love.
Yeah,
I think that's safe to say. We were all metalheads first, and then branched out world music, whatever.
Yeah, but it's amazing, like the bringing the metal into the jazz, because I like to listen to jazz, but it's just listening to you guys. It's like, okay, this is jazzy, and all of a sudden, oh my god,
yeah,
it just took that to that other level, right?
Well, I'm a big metalhead too. Like that's the funny thing is, the best drummers. I've talked about this before, and you're tremendous. But the best drummers in any band, I think, are Neil Peart is one, but certainly in the metal atmosphere of music, drummers in metal are the best. They're literally the best in my opinion.
Big athlete.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
yes,
like Jordan just said, like it's like one thing you have to be a musician, but like you have to be an athlete to play that fast night after night after night. It's just it's ridiculous. That's probably why, like, honestly, probably like at first, not that it turned me off, but like when you brought up the death metal project, I don't think I just had the confidence in me to be able to play that fast. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Well, it's a very specific technical requirements in that genre. Like most of it's pretty simplistic, but played at a very fast speed, and it's like it is like an Olympic level of athleticism involved in it, with the feet and the hands involved. So
cool, yeah.
I get tired just watching.
I know.
Seriously, you're watching a death metal video and just watching the drummers, just like,
Yeah,
I need a nap.
Yeah,
For whatever reason, they always look like they're so calm, and that's part of the charm too.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They just kind of like sitting there. It's like a duck, right? Their feet are underground, and they're just underwater. Are they underground? No, they're underwater.
No.
So but like you know what I mean. They're so calm on the top and then crazy on the bottom.
And indeed, their feet are paddling like mad.
That's right. Yeah. You know what I was getting at, right?
Yeah.
We all did.
Thank you.
We just wish you'd get there.
Maybe I
Someday.
should have called out the joke. Maybe that ruined it.
No.
breathe,
Cyrus,
man,
speak
no.
freely, buddy.
It's all good. It's all good. We're not looking to be corrected. Oh yeah, we are. Maybe we are.
No, we're not.
All right.
You know I can't afford to have that happen to me.
No, that's true. You can correct me.
I got too big an ego.
His head barely fits through the door.
Well, that's not because of my ego. It's just I have a huge head. Where did the name come from? Where does the I love that.
Answer that one.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, like 4 years ago now, 2018, I was writing a solo album. Just like my own compositions. I was recording all the instruments for it and everything. And I was just thinking of different song names and perhaps album names and whatever. And that name struck me before bed one night. And I was like, that's kind of cute and quirky and unique. I'll write it down as a potential name. And I thought it was going to be a song name. And I was like, well, it could be a good album name. It ended up did being the album name. And then eventually when I wanted to bring this stuff to like a live sort of audience, I met up with Kyle. We started jamming for a few months. We met up with the first bassist in the band as well. And then we were like, okay, well, what's a good band name? And then that name was brought up. I was like, well, yeah, I'm okay with that. And we all were agreeable to it. And it's got this kind of cool, modern, quirky thing going on with it now.
It does, yeah, because you are finely tuned.
Yeah,
like to hope so.
And you're the elephants in the room. Right?
Yeah, that's who we're talking about.
I know.
And it also kind of correlates with progressive rock too, right? Like you got some of the bands that just using the letters FTE.
Exactly.
Right. You know what I mean? Because you've got that band ELP.
Oh, I love ELP.
I figured you would.
Yeah. He introduced me to ELP.
Really, eh?
Yeah. All that whole prog rock scene from the 70s is just
King Crimson, ELP.
Yes.
Even Genesis was a
Well,
and Rush was considered progressive rock at the time too.
Before like maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Moving Pictures has got some proggy, but not like Signals. You know what I mean? And but what was I going to say there? Like even Genesis to a certain degree. Like I love stuff, even up to like I think it's called like Abacab. I always can't pronounce it. Even stuff like that I like, but like I don't know that. Yeah, like that 70s prog rock stuff is like probably one of my bigger influences, at least musically. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Considering how young these guys are, they
I know. I have to say.
I mean, we're not saying that. I mean, I would imagine you're in your 20s, right? Is that fair?
Listen, two of them are.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I'm only 13. No.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Seriously, hey,
you imagine?
funny that you say that because when I was sitting there watching you guys, I'm looking over. I saw you guys before you went on stage, and you were with your dad, and I'm like, I got to meet him outside, nice man, and I'm looking at I'm going, is he even old enough to be in this bar? And then I watched you play, and I'm like, I'm just like I'm mesmerized with it because you look very young, and it's just like, how the is he doing that? And he's only 12 years old. But it was amazing. Yeah,
it's also because I'm clean shaven.
That's
when
right.
I have I can't grow like a magnificent beard like you. I just got peach fuzz, right? So it just gets really patchy, and then it's like, okay, maybe he's like 19.
Yeah.
Still.
Maybe
it'll come, bro. It'll come.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I don't know if you'll be as I don't know how he grows it purple. Let's see.
Yeah, that's it's just it's a genetic flaw I have.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were a wizard, so
Yeah,
he does that. He gets that a lot.
yeah.
Wizard,
Gnome,
musician.
gnome. Oh yeah, a tattoo artist. Are you an artist? No, I'm a canvas.
Are you ever?
Yeah. Now, Cyrus, you're the newest member of the band, correct? Like we spoke the night of the show.
Yes, that's correct. I joined the band. I guess about a year ago, plus change.
Okay. Now, watching you on if you meet Cyrus, he's a very calm, cool, collected guy. But you put a bass in his hand and it changes.
He's got an alter ego.
Oh my God, does he ever? Like all three of them do. It's like they're very mild-mannered men right here, but on stage they're awesome. Like they're just
that brings up the question: like, is that the real you, or is the real you sitting here right now?
I mean, if you want, we can start
you brought
jumping around and throwing things in the studio.
I would not like that.
Yeah, my credit card's on file, so we're not gonna.
Oh, actually, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I think I think both. Like I'm only speaking for myself right now, but I've kind of heard that comment basically my entire performing life. Like when I was around 17, I was playing in this hardcore punk band, and people always used to say that to me, like, "Oh man, you're so quiet," but when you get on stage, it's like completely the opposite. But I don't know. I think like I know a lot of quiet people who have some outlet where their loudness kind of comes out.
Yep.
So certainly for me, that's like a part of the fun of performing live.
It's fun to watch. Trust
to kind
me.
of put on that persona.
I didn't know who to watch. I'm like, okay, watch. And but what? Cyrus is doing that. Oh, wait.
Well, you're performing your art, right? And I think that any artist, when they have their moment where they're trying to, like, their clarity of what they want to do as far as artistically, it comes out, right? And I think that's great. I think it's amazing.
Well, it's even Mark, like from Mecca Stank. That's part of, like, the stank is the look, right, that you get when you're on stage and you're in the zone and everything's going well and you're just like loving being up here doing what you love to do. And I saw that from all three of you, and it was just like,
yeah, it's great.
And then, when you guys get out and walk around in the crowd and stuff, and unfortunately, Kyle doesn't get to do that.
We'll have to get him some Tommy Lee rotating.
Yeah, we'll get
drums.
Sure, one day.
One day
when we make the money and we can put it back into the band. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I missed that show. My dad got to see it. I forget if it was whatever Motley Crue show it was, but yeah, the drum kit going across the whole stadium,
rotating.
It's amazing. It was. Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was just like on a track.
Well, it might have been different places, but when I saw him here in Ottawa, it went like he was drumming upside down.
That is so crazy.
That's crazy.
My
He's
fear
pretty
of
crazy.
heights would not let me ever come close to attempting. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, he might have a little bit of help.
Oh yeah.
In not knowing where he is.
Yeah.
Could have happened.
A little. Yeah.
Could have.
I mean, they all kind of did at one point.
No, not Motley Crue.
Yeah.
They're good Catholic
those
boys.
those good.
He is actually. It's funny that you
those
say
clean
that
cut
because he's like comes from a really good family. Like he's like a nice family life and this and that, but he's kind of a wild one, right? So
Tommy?
Yeah.
Oh God, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, that's surprising.
Nikki Sixx is really from the rough part of the world, that's for sure.
So I've heard.
Yeah. If
But
you watch the movie.
Yeah.
The
I don't know. I kind of like Motley Crue, but I'm not a big Motley Crue fan. I think they're kind of
got
cool,
some good
but
party rock sort of music.
for sure.
Good for crowds.
I just think they're all kind of douchey
But
in
they
a sense, at times as people. I mean, the musically, there's lots of douchebags in music.
You
guys aren't in it, by the way.
I'm going to say that these guys are more my favorite than Motley Crue. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you had to put together some influential people in your life, musically or even personally, each of you, if you wouldn't mind just like naming one.
You boys got anything off the top of your head?
As far as one single musical influence,
Or a couple, whatever you'd like.
or a couple. My main, like, I play a couple different instruments, but guitar is my main instrument. And in the past 4 years, I've been my favorite guitarist has been a guy named Guthrie Govan.
Okay.
Who I've raved to these two about all the time, and I kind of became obsessed with his music like 4 years ago, just because of his technical abilities and compositional abilities as well. And I've got the opportunity to see him live a few years ago, and I also exceeded expectations, and they were already pretty high. I just so happen to have the same kind of hair type as him, so a lot of I'm kind of becoming a kind of replica of him. But all that to say. He's kind of had the most influence on me as a guitarist and a musician, and in terms of like writing.
It's always cool to hear a new name.
I just wrote it down.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We'll be checking that out later.
You guys know the Aristocrats?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Check them out. Yeah, he's a guitarist.
Okay,
He's fantastic. Yeah.
Aristocrats?
He's also he plays guitar live with Hans Zimmer. I don't know if you know.
I know who he is.
composer,
Oh, yeah.
So,
He works with this young lady, Tina Gao, I think her name is. She's a cellist. He does a lot of production with her, and she's amazing. You'd like her. She's like kind of a heavy metal.
Kind of like Raph?
Like Raph, yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned her during Raph's show.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
You're up, sir.
Jeez. Okay.
Gives Kyle some time to think.
So I think on like a musician's front, if I had to pick one, in the last 4 or 5 years at least, it's probably been the band Bent Knee. If
Bent
you know
Knee.
them.
Nope.
They're really
I've
cool.
listened to them.
They're a Boston-based band, and it's kind of. It often gets called prog. That feels like it hints at an aesthetic that isn't quite right, but they're a really interesting band. Like, you guys should check them out. They're really good.
We will.
So they've been like one of my biggest influences for a long time. And I'm a fanboy, so I've also gotten familiar with a lot of the other work that members of that band have done. They're all freaking geniuses.
Right.
But I think that's like more of an influence as far as like what I want music to feel like how I want to approach composition and how I want to approach creating a mood using technicality as a tool. That's kind of, to me, what that band nails for me.
Okay.
And then I guess personally, I'll also give a shout out to my dad because he was a musician, and so that has an influence on how I think about things.
Yeah, very cool. Kyle, your time's up. Now tell us.
Come on, Kyle.
Well, let's see. I think, the obvious one being a Canadian kid, I was raised on a healthy dose of Rush. That's obvious. But I would say, I guess, more so like a singular musician. Well, there's two, really. Being a drummer, Neil Peart will always be like my personal favorite, probably for nostalgic reasons or whatever it is growing up as a kid. But honestly, the one musician who's probably influenced me the most, Billy Cobham. Ring a bell? Maybe?
Nope.
No. Cool.
Stumped him.
He was in a band in the 70s called the Mahavishnu Orchestra. He wasn't the first drummer, I should say, to develop this style of playing, but basically he plays open-handed. He's not naturally left-handed, but instead of playing a backbeat like with the right hand on the hi-hat, you got the left hand over here. The way I put it is like Neil Peart showed me what instrument I wanted to play. Billy Cobham showed me how I wanted to play it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Growing up as a kid, though, like similar to Cyrus, my dad, big influence, kind of showed me how to play. I used to play like traditional grip, but then, like I said, like watching Billy Cobham, just wanted to try that open-handed thing, and it's working so far. It's a little bit awkward, but besides just like a single solitary musician, I'd probably say like Rush was a big influence in terms of songwriting and just the aesthetic of like different album covers. And yeah, I would probably say besides that also King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big influence.
I know them.
Every album's like different, and that's what
Yep.
I kind of almost envision with like Finally to an Elephant. Is like almost every album there's like a different universe or something, but it still comes back like with Gizzard. It still comes back to this is King Gizzard.
Yeah.
Same with Rush. It's like even though like on Hemispheres it sounded one way, and then you go 2 albums later to Permanent Waves. Excuse me, it's still Rush.
Yeah.
So yeah. Big influence.
Nice.
Probably.
Good answer.
It is a good answer. Actually, the artwork on both your albums is really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where did you guys do it yourself, or did you?
Well, so for the first album, that was called Perfect Coincidence. It was released in 2020. Yeah. And for that one, there's kind of a lot of prog-sounding songs on that album, I'd say. I think that's more like the general theme of the album for the most part. And we kind of wanted to go for some sort of sci-fi look. And so for that album cover, we had this kind of mini planet, and there was some sort of wormhole in the sky and some different hatted men like these.
So the mushrooms are really good.
Yeah, the mushrooms were very, very good that day when we were working that one
Couple
out.
caps, eh?
They're all coming down to this mini Earth, but like this wormhole in the sky kind of represents this idea of this perfect coincidence just miraculously happening, which is kind of like the idea behind the band when it first started. Like there's 3 musicians and we all kind of had similar aspirations and goals, and we gelled together. We had similar goals in mind in terms of like live performances and songwriting, so on and so forth. And so this perfect coincidence kind of happened, and that's what the album name as a result of the 3 of us forming. And then fast forward 2 years later to The Fast Life, some different changes in the band since then. And by the time that album was coming out, we had talked with an artist in Ottawa. Her name is Ann Nguyen. She's a Vietnamese artist.
I've heard her name before.
Yeah, and this album didn't have more of like the prog thing going on, but it kind of had more of like a fast funk sort of fusion sort of sound to it. And so for that album, we kind of want to have something that looked fast, like urban lifestyle. Everyone's busy, trying to get to wherever they need to go necessarily. So the album was called The Fast Life, and for that, we kind of commissioned Anne to do this urban landscape with all these moving kind of figures in it. And Kyle and I are on the front. Cyrus wasn't in the band, unfortunately, at the time of the band. So Kyle and I worked on it, and this is the album cover that we put together with all these bright, vivid colors, all these moving figures, lots of contrast involved in it, good to represent, the fast nature of human life in 2022.
Fast life represents the all too fast passage of time and the chaotic nature of modern life.
That's it.
Right off the top of his head, that's amazing.
Very
well,
impressive.
right off their Spotify page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was giving you peeps and props and stuff, and you
Peeps and props?
Peeps and props, brother.
Nice.
Third album, though, I don't know where we're going with that, so we'll have to figure that out. It's kind of a work in progress right now.
Are you writing?
Excited?
Are you guys writing?
Yeah, so we've got a couple songs down now. Some like a few complete songs actually, a few other works in progress, some random scattered ideas labeled on our computer, such as like project _V1 or blah 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 or something like that. Basically,
we often joke about this, but like if any of you guys have ever worked with somebody who has a home studio and you look in their folders, I think like everyone I know is bad for having like final version 1, final version 2, yeah. final version.
This is absolutely the final version.
Yeah. So we're definitely in the phase where we haven't quite hit the final versions yet, but we got a lot of cool ideas. We're
now,
awesome.
I have a question about now, because I've seen you guys play live. How do you do it in the studio? You can't jump around like a madman.
Maybe you can.
No, I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't know, but it's a different feel, right? Like the studio versus live. Obviously,
we're a lot more reserved. I would say it's a lot more. Well, obviously, because there's not an audience there. I'm not saying since there's not an audience, we're just going to be like robots. Like there's still a connection going on between the three of us, but it's a lot more. Calm, reserved. Yeah, for sure.
Well, like when we're recording in the studio, like it's my home studio at my parents' house. I've had it for I've been growing it for like 12 years now, so It's kind of like a fully furnished place at this point. And we'll typically we'll have all the songs written in advance, like every single detail kind of worked out before we start to record. Because once we start to record, all the variables need to be very consistent to get it's a professional sort of album recording takes. So we'll start typically with the guitars and the basses. I know that's usually a flip of what's done historically, but we've got these modern tools available, and we can, for example, program drums in for demos in the meantime. We can record in guitar takes, bass takes, really work out all the details in that regard, have all of the direct stems, and then later we can record the drums, make sure all the variables are super consistent, fresh skins tuned up, all the mics in the specific spot, all the gains dialed in and everything. We can record that. And typically when we're recording, it's not like a one take throughout the whole process. Like this is the case with most modern recording studios. Typically, you'll do like a bunch of different takes, and then you'll maybe pick one that stands out more. Maybe there are some different fills involved in one take that sounded better. And same with the guitar takes too. Sometimes I'll add in different things here and there, and you can kind of pick and choose which ones sound the best ultimately. And then after that, there's all sorts of different processes involved. So, the recording process, that's done. Then you've got to go through like editing, making sure all the takes like sound good and gel together, and then mixing and processing and everything. And we try to do everything independently because we have the skills to do it, and we'd prefer to avoid paying thousands of dollars for a recording studio if possible. Mm-hmm. So it takes a lot of time to write the songs, and then B, record the songs, and then do all the stuff afterwards. So it's quite a long journey involved in it, and you have to have that end goal, the scope in mind to kind of accomplish that. But it is well worth it to have ultimately like the creative control to be able to do everything you want without. Sometimes the external influence is good, but I think we're all capable enough to do it on our own, so we prefer doing that.
Hey, Dawg, want some hot sauce for your tacos?
You brought your own hot sauce?
Damn right. Have you tried Gringo's Sizzling Nirvana? It'll change your life.
Nice. Are there other types of sauces?
Absolutely. There's different hot sauces for different palates, incredible barbecue sauces, red pepper jam, and salsa. All of them use fresh ingredients, and it can be delivered to your door.
Hey, how do we get some?
Go to www.gringosblazingsauces.com and order some.
Gringo's Blazing Sauces.
Bring the fire to your food. Well, it seems like there's a lot of passion to this each project that you're doing, and of course having that at home. I was thinking Jason Jack Nunes, who we had on, who's a producer, would love your sound. I think that what it goes through my mind is he sent us the who was the band that he sent us? Remember?
Nope.
You don't?
Drawing a blank. He talked about a whole bunch of different
things.
But
it'll come back to me. But anyways, okay. They're a band from Europe that all have their own sound, and they're very very much themselves, and I think that's what you guys are bringing. Would I be wrong with saying something like that?
Well, like our specific sound is it's kind of a culmination of a lot of different things. Like all of us have grown up with different influences that have brought us to where we are as musicians and how we play and how we write music, and we all bring our own unique styles into the writing and the recording. Having Cyrus in the band now, he's been in the band for a year now. It's been the best part of the band so far, best interpretation of the band in our entire history. And he brings so much in terms of his technical ability and compositional abilities. And I know I'm boosting your ego right now, but
he just got 10 feet
you
tall.
You can boost mine again
here.
later.
So that's the deal.
But like, it brings this new dynamic in terms of our compositions that we didn't have before, and I'm really excited for the third album. Like it's turning out amazingly so far, and we keep trying to push the bar higher and higher every single album, regardless of what direction it goes in. This one will be different than the prior one in many ways, but I think it's going to exceed the bar that we've already set, which is I think it's a pretty high bar that we've set for ourselves.
For sure.
Now, that's what I was going to ask because you did the first two albums and Cyrus wasn't there, so I'm figuring that the next album's going to have a little bit of a different feel, like bass-wise, and just like what you bring to the table, right?
I would imagine.
So,
yeah, I expect so. I mean, I suppose it's also it's going to be a bit different because we're doing a lot of group writing right now. I think this is going to be a very collaborative album, and so it's really interesting seeing there's a bit of unpredictability in that because like the nebulous soup of influences that forms when musicians start group writing nobody really knows where it's going to go until you have the finished product.
Right.
So it's very intriguing.
Check your egos at the door, boys.
Yes.
I'm teasing.
The band was the Parcels.
To be honest with you, playing in this band was initially like actually a real hit to the ego because I was like, I remember going to the audition. I was like, holy crap, these guys are actually really good. This is stressful.
And Kyle's like, no, we're not.
No, we're not that good. We're all right.
We're okay.
I don't know. I got to learn, I guess, to be better at taking compliments. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay because Matt Saab said the same thing. He goes, I can't believe I get to do this for a living and people think I'm good at it. So you're in the same boat as Matt Saab, and Matt Saab is a Juno Award-winning drummer. So
I figured if you have a Juno, you got to realize you have some talent.
But he's still,
come on, dude.
But he's still very humble.
No,
yeah. You know what I mean? It's
Jokes
not like,
aside, no, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think it's you guys are modest in the sense that you love what you're doing, so it doesn't actually feel like work, even though it is a ton of work, right? So, you're mentioning putting together an album and all the processes that you're going through, not only just producing the music and then also recording it and writing it, and you're doing everything. So I don't know. I think that being modest in that sense is the reason being is you love what you're doing. So,
well, we have to be passionate about stuff. Like I wouldn't spend thousands of hours doing something unless I was truly, truly passionate about it, or I was getting paid boatloads of money. But one of the two.
Yeah,
we're jazz musicians, so that's not really.
That's never going to happen.
It's not the
You
latter.
guys have been getting paid? What? No.
Well, that's the thing. That's another question too, right? So does your mentality change if, say, I don't know, a Canadian record company says, boys, we love your stuff. We want you to do an album, and this is what we want you to do. Do you guys change who you are and say, yeah, okay, we'll do that? Or you say, no, this is who we are. This is Finely Tuned Elephant. No, we're not going to change who we are for any kind of money.
Yeah, it depends on the circumstances. I mean, like, there's that typical cliche in music, the sort of sellout mentality. Do you give up who you are as a musician to, I don't know, appease the masses or write an album with specific requirements from a record company or whatever it is? I think it's contextual dependent. It depends on like the situation and like, for example, like the record company in this particular context and, what they might offer necessarily. I think all of us have principles and we try to maintain those in our music especially. And I think we're all flexible as well. I think, we're a bit malleable and we're open to change, which is important. Yeah. But we do have underlying principles that, we would stick with. And those would come before anything, ultimately. So
good answer.
Absolutely. No. Integrity is important, I would say. No. Yeah.
No. Yes. Go with yes, Kyle.
In everything.
Everything.
In everything.
Especially art. I mean, I don't know. You can't. I don't think you can lie to yourself as an artist. Like you said, like the circumstances, it would have to be pretty drastic. Like, I don't know, you guys got to wear like some like weird costumes or some crazy stuff. I don't know.
You have to dress up like elephants.
Well, funny you say that.
We got a Halloween show coming up. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
Look out. Is there like, so what do you guys do to decompress other than music? Like, obviously you play music for your passion and you enjoy it, but anything else that you get into? Do you paint or do you do other arts?
I am a master's in physics, and so that's not a way to decompress. That's just a way of saying I don't ever decompress. I'm very pent up. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I kind of like video games. I used to read a ton, but these days I mostly only read nonfiction because it's that student thing where like you get so used to reading things related to your field. I like to cook.
Nice.
I like to bike.
That's a great way to decompress, man.
Cooking and biking.
Yep. And listening to Finely Tuned Elephant while you're cooking. Or maybe somebody else.
Actually, funny you say that. Great dinner music.
Yeah.
Love the stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I try to do a bunch of different things. Music is my first passion, but I enjoy doing other things as well. There's a lot in life to be grateful for. My other big one would be photography. I try to go around and take as much photos as possible, pretty much everything. Wildlife in particular. Love going out and taking wildlife photos and capturing cool moments here and there. I love reading. I've been reading a ton this year, which I'm happy about. Although sometimes I'm a little bit annoyed myself for reading too much and not spending more time on music. I love video games. I love watching TV, going out for walks, hikes, bike rides. I go kayaking a ton. I like doing a lot of different things to decompress.
That's cool. Yeah.
So Jordan doesn't sleep.
No, I don't sleep.
No. Kyle?
Good amount of exercise. Might not show it, but I really, really like acting. I wanted to be an actor, to be honest with you, before a musician, but that was like, I don't know, 5 years old when I was a little kid. But
right.
I like creating things. So yeah, I mean, really, it's in the same vein of maybe not music, but art in general. Like, I'm a horrible painter, but like I'll try it. You just got to try it. Poetry's cool. Mainly not like I'm not trying to be a poet. It's mainly to help with like songwriting, like lyrics. I mean, but yeah.
Well, lyrics are poetry, I think.
And then I just work out a lot. Try to stay in shape. Playing an instrument that you kind of need to be in some decent amount of shape to pull off. Yeah, pretty much.
It's true.
There are some jacked drummers, actually.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. It's because just think of you're playing a 2-hour show when you're hitting those skins. It's just
you could say it just like without sounding like that.
No, because I'm not a musician. I'm just a music lover. So when I say skins, it's not natural for me to say that. So you just be quiet over there for a minute.
I have so many things in my head.
Keep them there. Yeah, so like I said, like especially when we talked about metal drummers before, and they're just like at the rate that they're drumming, I'm just like, you got to be in some kind of shape, or you're going to have a heart attack.
It's a workout in itself.
Yeah,
honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
I've felt after gigs like, maybe my bicep got a little bit bigger or something.
Yeah,
like, no, for sure.
Dripping in sweat and stuff, and you're
looking
done.
swole.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, I don't mean to use those words.
Oh.
I think that'd be, even for playing the way that they play with so much energy, you're taking a lot out of yourself. It's like a cardio workout. I mean, that's why you do so much outdoors.
Every single show,
biking.
I'm like drenched in sweat.
No
It's
doubt.
pretty gross, to be honest. People are like, "Oh my God, this show is so good," trying to give me a hug. I'm like, "You don't want to hug me right now." So let me tell you,
Greasy.
It's funny you said that because I went to see the Sunday Riot Club, and I said, "Can I get a picture, guys?" And they said, "You better get it before we go on stage." And I'm like, I never even thought of that. Like, what's a great idea. He goes, because Andre is like, Alexander, sorry. He's like, yeah, we're going to be dripping in sweat. I'm like, yeah, let's get it before you go on stage. That's a great idea. But yeah, that's kind of, you don't think about that stuff, right? But it's true. These three guys, like, they must lose like 10 pounds when they're done.
I think of most musicians, like playing a live show, like with the lights and everything.
That's fine. But the fact that these guys, like, these two were in the audience.
Yeah, no wonder Flea doesn't wear anything.
Yeah,
when he's playing bass.
Seriously,
it makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Yeah. I thought at one point Jordan had left because he went.
Well, Cyrus was the one who left. Actually, yeah, he went out the door. Yeah,
he went over to the Max Milk, got a drink, came back.
Bass solo continued.
Yeah, he's playing bass solo at the Max Milk.
Walks over to the. Yeah.
What's this guy doing? Oh, I'm playing a live show.
Yeah.
Well, it is part of the fun for us. Like, we try to interact with the crowd, and we know that gives them a bunch of energy, and then they give it back to us, and it's kind of a mutual transaction of energy. So we have a lot of fun with it. And we know that as an audience member, if we were seeing an artist doing that, it would make the experience that much better. Yeah. It's gotten to the point where we're comfortable enough with the songs. We don't have to think about every single note that's involved, and we can kind of let the muscle memory dictate what's going on. And we can actually just enjoy the process for what it is and really have fun with it.
Yeah, you got your reps in now, so you can kind of,
So when they come out with the new album, they'll just be standing still. Sorry, guys, we haven't learned these songs well enough to go running into this.
Remember, they stand still in the studio. And then they get it prepped, and then they bring in their alter egos take over.
Jordan just said
the elephant
until
costumes.
they learn it. Now we have to find where the Halloween show is. Yeah, I think I had a great point there.
Keep going.
I'm done.
You know what my secret is?
What is it? Tell us.
I always jump around, but sometimes I occasionally flub a note.
Uh-oh.
Every now and then.
Keep on the good page with him. He's right beside you.
Yeah.
No, you can make fun of me.
No.
Well, he's got me in youth, but I got him in girth. I'm bigger than he is.
Yeah.
But I'm not supposed to scream
competition?
myself, so. No, not at all.
What is happening?
I don't know.
This is a nice cordial conversation.
Cordial.
What underrated tool or tools are indispensable for your job?
Oh my goodness. Good pair of
you know what?
drumsticks.
Drumsticks, that's a good one.
Always have a drum key on stage, because you never know when the kick pedal is going to break, and then you panic because either Jordan or Cyrus is about to announce the next song, and you don't have a downbeat, basically.
Yeah.
That happened once, and I was, oh my goodness, it was at Avant-Garde, I think. We finished the song, I didn't realize it, and then I put my foot down, and I'm like, okay, the pedal's out. Didn't panic at first, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have a drum key up here. So I just ran off stage, go to my father. You got a drum key? He pulls out his car keys. He's got like 3 on there. He's got this really cute keychain. I'm like, my man, went back on stage. Always bring a drum key, though, on stage.
Or your dad.
Or my father.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully when we make enough money, he'll be a roadie again, because that was his original job back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
he
cool.
played some gigs that I don't believe, but his friends, like he did a gig with like Motorhead. Apparently he met Lemmy Kilmister. I don't know. That might be over-exaggerated, but I'm like, no way you met Lemmy. I'm sorry, I'm like rambling. He said 1984 in Gatineau.
Well, you know what? That can be research. That can be research with the internet and stuff. We could figure that out.
Likely a cigarette, Jack Daniels, and 3 women around him. Probably.
At least.
I'm gonna say
At least 3 women.
Minimal.
Yeah. That's a cool story. We're gonna get Dad on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's got a
Jordan?
great story.
I'm sure he knows.
Well, as far as indispensable tools are concerned, as a guitarist, I mean, always bringing a second guitar is really important. I play with these guitars that have tremolo fixed bridge sort of style guitars, Floyd Roses, which take like 3 hours to set up. And it's the type of guitar you can't replace a string on stage. So I always have to bring a second guitar, because there's been numerous shows where I've popped a string. I'm like, oh, shit, this is happening. Okay. The other one being the wireless units. So when Cyrus joined the band, he had a wireless unit originally, and I think he mentioned the idea to us. I was like, hey, that sounds fantastic, actually. We should do that. So anyways, I picked up a wireless unit for myself off Amazon. It was like $80. It was super cheap. And now they've become this indispensable tool in our live gigs, because it allows us the freedom to move around and have fun. Because before playing with the cord, it's restricting. And you feel you might even just like tug it out at some point, and your signal will be lost. So those are my 2 indispensable tools.
And Cyrus?
Yeah, I've had the entire time to think about this, but I'm still struggling.
I think I know which one.
He literally waited for you.
A strong like strap on your bass when you're jumping.
That's definitely important, yes. I actually have my strap
shoes.
nailed to my bass. A lot of times I take my shoes off when I'm playing, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I was actually going to say, like, there's an awful lot you can get done with like a butter knife and a screwdriver when it comes to instrument maintenance. This one maybe isn't actually that indispensable, but I want to mention it just because I want you guys to freak out about what this could possibly be for the rest of the day. But a bunch of Vaseline with crushed graphite in it. It's not that indispensable, but
What do you got?
It's handy sometimes.
You got a guess?
Nope.
Vaseline. I'm sorry, I'm thinking.
Are you
crushed graphite?
Are you playing slap bass?
Often, yeah.
Is that what it's for?
Indirectly. Okay, should I tell you?
You should.
Should I tell you?
Spill the beans.
Well, you have to. I mean,
So,
how the hell
okay.
are you going to leave
So-
Vaseline with gravel on the stage?
Graphite.
Or on the-
So I used to
graphite, sorry.
I used to play. Well, I'm a really heavy-handed player on bass, as you probably noticed when you saw the show. And I started doing this when I used to play in a hard rock band in Halifax called Dawg and Gus that I played in for a couple of wild years. And there was this one summer where I think literally every gig I broke a string. And so the problem was there was some sharp, like the bridge of my bass was like a little bit sharp and it was snapping. So I deburred the bridge and that helped a lot. But what I've done since is if you make this paste out of Vaseline and graphite, now the scientist in me is telling me I haven't really rigorously tested this that much. So like, don't take my word for it. This is not like, this is
hypothetical.
This is anecdotal.
Fair enough.
But I have noticed that since I started doing that, I have not broken a string every show. So I think it's working based on a very small sample size. So that's the actual reason. But honestly, the only reason why I brought it up was because I thought you guys would think it's weird.
It is weird.
You were right.
You were very right.
You were very right. That's weird.
Vaseline with graphite.
You guys are musicians.
We use it here, actually, but it's for a different
understandable.
stuff. I use it for my camera on my phone.
He uses it for his hair.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That's where it gets shiny.
Yeah.
Oh, spare cables. That's another one, just in all seriousness. Like,
spare cables, yeah.
Yeah.
We like that whimsical answer, by the way. Thank you. I do love that.
He just wanted to say whimsical.
I've been dying to say that
I know
word.
you have.
You know I like whimsy.
Yeah, you do.
Is it me or you?
Is it one of us?
You go.
Okay. I'm going to ask the question, even though it's early.
Ooh.
3 of them, so the odds are pretty good that I might get one.
You're going to get more than one.
You guys haven't really
I have a
listened
feeling
Yeah?
that you're going to get more than one.
But I'm not offering the 70s up to them, so it's going to be a little different.
No, but I know Kyle's going to pick the one that
We ask this question to everybody who's been on the show, just because we're kind of divided, and it's a joke between the two of us.
Yeah, may I?
Yes,
because
you may.
no, I'm not going to ask. You asked the question, but I want to kind of preface it a bit. So I come from a 90s genre, and he comes from an 80s genre.
Everything else.
And we both love the 70s, so we've made that happen. I'm not anti-80s, and he's not anti-90s, but we prefer one or the other. However, go ahead, ask a question.
80s or 90s? Kyle goes first.
Left to right.
He's wearing an Iron Maiden shirt.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I knew that he was going to pick something. He was there last night. We should ask him.
You know what? Yeah, no, I could just say 80s just because of the albums Maiden put out. But no, I would say
a number of the beast.
I would say 80s only because I think I had more artists that I listen to had their golden run, if you will, like Maiden in the 80s. I really like the stuff Rush put out in the 80s, but like even like some of the synth pop, like I really like Depeche Mode. I like not is it? Yeah, New Order.
New Order, yep.
They came from Joy Division. I was going to say Joy Division, but New Order, stuff like that. I'm going to go 80s.
Okay.
I'm going to go 80s.
So Kyle's my favorite drummer in the room.
In the room, yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Jordan.
2 for 0, 80s as well, no doubt in my mind.
Yes.
Most of my favorite artists have developed their careers in the 80s. For example, Metallica. For example, Cassiopeia. I grew up a lot in my teenage years listening to all the good thrash metal, the stuff from the 80s, you know, Metallica and Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, all these big bands. Right?
See, I love them all too. But
yeah, Gus has mentioned that too, right? He's like, because he is not an anti-80s guy, but he does love the heavier stuff from the 80s.
Yeah.
And I love it all.
It's the metal. It's the metal decade.
It was this year, the decade as well, like really where guitars started to be super over the top and like flamboyant even, but you had all these ridiculous virtuosos coming out. It's like this decade of like crazy guitar work, like neoclassical metal, for example. Yeah. So most of the players that I aspired to like play like when I was in my teenage years, came from that decade in particular. Guys like Marty Friedman and like Jason Becker or Yngwie Malmsteen, any guys like that, pretty much.
Yngwie.
I like that. That's
although
a good
he's
name.
he's
Good
kind of
handle.
an asshole, to be honest. But anyway.
So I've heard that about him. Yeah,
there's always that.
And Cyrus.
You could be talented to be jerk.
All right, I'm going to be the elephant in the room and go 90s.
You're not the elephant. I'm with you.
Yeah,
with you,
yeah. We're on the same page. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of great music made in the 80s. Again, also not anti-80s, but some aspects of the 80s. I'm kind of anti-80s, but anyway,
it's okay.
That's why I think that's why I'm turned off by the 80s.
80s was great for
the weird stuff.
For a lot of things, but yeah, no, 90s, like, I don't know, I'm kind of like an alt kid in some ways, so like I grew up listening to like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, bands like that, and like a lot of I'm also, the last couple years I've really fallen in love with shoegaze, which most of the shoegaze I listen to is more contemporary, I guess, but you know, that's where that started too. There's just a lot of I think it's mostly just like the stuff that happened in alternative rock in the 90s that I'm kind of in love with. Yep. And it's just, for me, kind of, well, also, you know, I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, and they had their golden years, and so like that whole kind of pantheon of acts, like you know what I'm saying. That kind of just hits a special place in my heart.
Yeah, exactly. Soundgarden used to be a heavy metal band, by the way. Like originally, they were a heavy metal band. Like but they decided that they're musically they were just a better band with Chris Cornell writing, and I think they did pretty good.
They did all right, I think.
I love Soundgarden.
I know you do. Yeah, it's not a right or wrong answer. It's just fun to see where you guys come from, especially because you guys are younger too, right? Like I lived through the 80s, so I lived through all of that stuff, the fashion, the music, everything. And it's interesting to see like younger folks saying,
"Do you have a leather suit? Did you wear a leather outfit?"
I actually, remember Huey Lewis in the News?
Oh yeah.
I want a new drug. That red suit that he wears in the video.
I'm picturing the music video. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I had one.
Oh, I wish you still had it.
I wish I did too. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I made that. Listen, you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, please.
I was at a bar downtown back in the 80s, down on Rideau, in the washroom watching this band, and it was kind of like a Huey Lewis, kind of like the kind of 50s rock and roll, but kind of like Huey Lewis in the News. And I'm in the washroom, and this drunk guy comes in. And he's like, he stands beside me, and he's like, "Are you in the band?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I'm the lead singer." And he goes, "Oh, that's good." I said, "What do you want to hear?" And he rambles something up. I said, "Okay, see you out there." And it's like, it was a complete lie. I'm not a lead singer, but it was fun.
Yeah, you had a good time in the bathroom.
Yeah,
in the 80s, weird.
In the 80s in a washroom. Yeah, I had a good time. Don't judge.
I would never.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a great answers, guys. Thanks.
Being big readers, what's three books you recommend to my audience and why?
Our audience.
You knew what I meant.
I know what you meant.
I think it's called On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I was reading that about a month ago. I put it down, but that's a fantastic book. Connecting back to music, I heard about that author first from this interview with Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead. He brought up his name, and I'm like, why does that sound familiar? Jack Kerouac. He's got a bunch of books, but yeah, On the Road is definitely one I'd highly recommend.
Cool.
It's a great read. Trying to think of another one, but if you guys got one, jump in. I don't know yet.
I read a book probably about 2 years ago now. It's not like super significant or anything, but it's called The Count of Monte Cristo. Great book. It's a whole sort of revenge tale, and I love these sorts of epic, dramatic tales. It appeals to me greatly.
Like the actual, that's a
Alexander Dumas.
Yeah, that's a Dumas book.
Yeah, a pretty famous book.
Yeah.
It was my first time reading it, and I loved it. But typically, my reading interests actually gear more towards the fantasy side of things. I've been a big nerd since high school about that.
Which kind of fantasy we talking? We talking Robert Jordan? We talking what are the other ones?
In Robert Jordan in that era. George R.R. Martin as well, Joe Abercrombie as well, those sorts of guys. So
when is the new Game of Thrones book coming out?
Oh, it's never coming out.
He's just playing this up, eh? No. I read them all, and I'm like dying to read, because I think that after, and you probably agree, and maybe you won't, but Game of Thrones got worse because the book ended, and they kept trying to make it, and then
Well, they kept pushing him, and then they came up with their own, like, okay, we're going to end this.
Well, they had to. Too much money, man.
I know. But seriously, they could have ended it a different way.
I think he's too stressed out to finish the last book now. He's got his own other projects going on. Like, he's still releasing books, but not that book in particular. I don't think it's probably going to happen.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to, though. That's the thing. So, I mean, they've got the show. They've got an ending that works for it. It's not great, but it is, it's a pretty epic story all told. It's had a huge influence on fantasy, obviously, for everything that has come since.
Yep.
And then the third book would be the real book, classic jazz book. I think every musician should read that book and learn some songs from it.
Yeah.
Cyrus is laughing.
The real book.
I mean, that is true. It's a good book to have. Your experience with different editions may vary. So the problem here is, as I said before, I've been going to school for physics for, God, I think we're into year 7 now. And my reading has become so dominated by that kind of thing that...
Please don't say any physics books.
Yeah, I know.
Say Where's Waldo? That's great.
That is a classic. Where's Waldo?
Some graphic novels.
I'll do one that's physics adjacent that I still read for my own pleasure. There's a book called Life Itself that's really interesting. I don't know a ton about its broader context in the world of people who know a lot about this kind of thing, but it's basically this book that this biologist named Robert Rosen wrote in the 80s that has to do with, I guess, essentially how to think about biology in the context of other sciences and in the context of almost like formal logic and mathematics.
Sounds exciting.
So some very light reading.
Yeah.
It's very, very easy reading.
I'm just kidding. We're just kidding.
That's all I got. Sorry, guys. I'll think about it.
It's okay, Cyrus. I'm just messing with you, man.
Yeah, we're just having some fun here.
There's also a really, really good
physics
cooking book.
Okay.
Cooking book. Well, I got physics books for days.
No,
Look,
I know.
J.J. Sakurai.
No, but tell me the cookbook. Tell me the cookbook.
Cookbook.
I love cooking, too.
I don't remember the number. I think it's called, like, 550 curries or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's just a number, a large number like that, curries. There's probably different books that have similar names, but the one that I'm thinking of, like, every recipe I've tried from it is freaking bomb.
What's it called?
It's called, again, I might have the number wrong, but I want to say like 550 curries.
Okay.
It's that, but just
somewhere in the 500s. Yeah. I do love a good curry.
Also, special shout out to Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Everybody's got some bad days, but
there you go.
Everyone's got a lot of good days too.
Yep. There you go.
It's exactly a great way to do it, right there.
All right,
you have bad days, but there are many good days.
Oh yeah, I had a whole week of bad days.
Yeah, but you're getting on to the good ones.
Yeah. So you guys played the Redbird live for the very first time. What, like, since you've been touring, I mean, maybe all three of you together, what's your favorite venue to go to?
Ooh, I expect that all of us will probably have some different answers involved. The thing is, like, we've played some shows out of town in Montreal. We've played on the East Coast as well. Those were a lot of fun, but it's not the sort of venues that we're going to be playing at frequently for obvious reasons. So as far as Ottawa local venues are concerned, my favorite personally is Rainbow Bistro. Nice. I always have such a blast there. The sound system is awesome. The venue is super atmospheric and cozy. It's always a good turnout there for whatever reason too. It's got this legendary status in Ottawa. Yep. You feel like you're
it's the best part.
Making an impact on Ottawa history, which I think is super cool because I'm a history nerd as well.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite venues too is actually a place in Cornwall called La Maison Taverne.
Okay.
And it's a bar. But the stage setup, it's so immaculate in comparison to most bars we've played at. They've got these this backline of gear, and it's all this super, super high-end boutique gear. This is called Wizard Amplification. It's the sort of stuff that, like, the guys from AC/DC use, like, really, really high-end custom stuff. And they had, like, a backline of this gear, and, like, I'm just looking at it, like, I've never played this gear before, and it's just available for us to use here.
Oh, nice.
And the way they've set up the stage, too, it's, like, the lighting is crazy there. Sound system, they've got all sorts of high-end modern Midas preamps and such. So and those would be my two picks.
Nice.
Yep.
You beat me to it because I was going to say Rainbow, but live on Elgin always has a really, really nice atmosphere. Just like the candlelight, everything, even if, there's some really loud, aggressive jazz fusion going. But Brass Monkey is fantastic. We played there. Yeah, we played there twice. I was only going to say once, but we played there twice. Brass Monkey is just it's a good hang. It's just I like places with it's a great atmosphere, and both places are really just well kept overall. So Elgin and Brass Monkey for me probably. Yeah.
So, I was gonna say Rainbow Bistro, and then Rainbow Bistro got taken, and then I was like, well, maybe Live on Elgin, and Live on Elgin got taken. No, but I gotta mix it up. I love both of those venues. Rainbow is awesome, and Live on Elgin is like I frequent that venue. I'm there a lot, apart from also playing there.
Right.
I love it. I also want to give a shout out to Avant Garde Bar, because it's just such a cool, wacky space. And the guy that runs it, Alexei, is he's I haven't actually had a conversation with the man, but he's always there, and he's my man, he's the man who books shows and gives me fat tires, which is a beer for context. And also, I think it's got a special place in my heart because my first show with the band was at Avant Garde.
Okay, yeah.
So it's different. It's a bit smaller than the other two. It's a very small venue, but it's a great time.
All right. Good answers.
Very good answers. So what's next, guys? When do you think? I know albums don't have a time frame, but you think in the next couple months? You think in a year? Although you released an album this year, so that's fantastic.
We are in the writing process right now. We're making some waves with the writing process. We've got a few songs written. We've got some other ideas down, some halfway written songs and such. So I'd say we're about halfway through the writing process right now. And that process usually takes up about 6 months, if I'm being accurate with the timeline. So given that, we started this fall. So let's say maybe early in 2023, perhaps February, I'm expecting the writing to probably be more or less fully there, but, I can't predict how it's going to go. Maybe it'll be in the spring of 2023, maybe in the summer. I don't like to rush things, obviously, because part of the band's appeal is the studio stuff, but also the live stuff. So while we're writing, we can continue playing shows. We can present new material even to, an audience, for example, as we're continuing to write new material. And then, once the writing's done, then the next process it's a lot more straightforward. There's a very specific process to follow and a plan in mind. That's kind of more of an accurate timeline involved in it. So, once the writing's done, you can kind of streamline the rest of it. And that will probably take another 4 months or so. I'm expecting the third album will probably be released late in 2023, maybe in the fall, perhaps a little bit later. But that's my general timeline right now as far as that goes.
Cool. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are nodding, so you guys are thinking
I think it's
that he speaks
reasonable.
Truly.
Perhaps.
Well, the good thing, they put out an album in March, right? So,
yeah.
I'm just interested because I do love your stuff. So it was kind of more, when are you giving us some more of it?
Yeah, seriously. As fans, we're just come on, guys.
Yeah.
Can you hurry up this process because we want to hear some more stuff?
We might also do a live album at some point. We'll likely do a live album at some point in the near future. Christmas? Yeah. The Christmas album.
Christmas jazz fusion, yeah.
We had Siva on, who's a flautist, and he's this amazing flautist, and he's got this amazing Christmas album. So I was it was off the cuff there,
Yeah, it was fun. But
off day cuff.
Daycuff. It's another
Daycuff. Nice venue.
Yeah.
It's a fun venue.
I haven't been there yet, but I'm trying to make my way there.
Well, it's you'll have a good time there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good venues in Ottawa, and you've named quite a few nice ones.
Yeah.
So.
Do you understand what Daycuff means?
No.
Just reverse it.
Fucked.
What?
You didn't know?
Oh, my goodness.
Neither did I.
I did not know.
You charming bastard. Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, this was really awesome, guys.
Thank you for having us, Doug. Seriously, this is an absolute pleasure for us.
Yeah.
This was a blast.
Yeah. You can send me some physics books there.
Oh, God.
I actually liked physics in high school, off-taught, but not to that point. Where
no,
I've
not even
doing
close.
That's not what anyone ever says.
It's pretty extreme with this physics.
Yeah.
No.
You guys asked some phenomenal questions. Seriously, this is the best interview we've ever had, in all honesty. And I can appreciate how genuine you guys are with your love of music and your openness to talk about music with others, especially in the local community. You know, you're doing a fantastic service.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate you. That's kind of our mission statement now, actually.
It's really easy when we get, you guys are in here, you're engaged, and you're really excited about what you're talking about, because that excites us, because we're music fans, right? Like Gus plays a little bit of guitar. I don't play an instrument, but I love music, and I just want to know where it's coming from, and it's fun to see you guys just the eyes light up and the smiles on your faces when you're talking, right? And that makes me really happy for what we're doing now.
100%. That's kind of what, like, we talked about how we want to bring Ottawa music to the forefront, and if we can do it our little part by doing a little podcast every week, and we're having a great time too. So it's really fun. It's really nice.
And just I don't know if you know, but I also work with Feel It Radio. It's an internet radio station out of the UK. This will be up on their site.
That's wonderful to hear.
Awesome. Yeah, it would be.
You're going to England, boys.
Yeah, you're going to England.
Going overseas.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
Put on your raincoats. Yeah. It should be up there in 2 Mondays. So not this Monday coming, but the Monday after.
Super cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, until next time.